Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Max Warframe, where we're taking a first look at a weapon from the Pacifism Defect event, and that's the brand spanking new Ignis Wraith. Now, the Ignis has been a bit of a fan favourite for some time, and it's been a weapon that I use as my sort of no-brainer room-clearing weapon, or something that I use to help me search for Iotans, Syndicate Medallions, stuff like that. So when I heard that this was going to be made into a Wraith weapon, I was super hyped for it. But when all is said and done, how does it stack up against the normal Ignis? It's actually got 2 less base damage at 25 pure heat. However, its critical chance of 12% instead of 5% is actually a pretty decent improvement. You've still got the same 200% critical damage multiplier, and an increased status chance of 30% compared to the 25 of the standard weapon. So the stat upgrades, I mean, they're kind of minimal really. The larger magazine size of 200 is nice though. The 50 ammo increase to the max ammo, which is up to a total of 800 rounds stored, does give it a bit of a nice quality of life upgrade. The weapon, for the rest of it, is basically the Ignis that we know and love. It's an AoE weapon, able to spread status procs around, decent fire rate, punch through, and multi-shot built into the weapon. It has obviously the same downsides as the standard Ignis as well. The direct single target damage, I mean, it's not the greatest since the base damage is pretty low. Plus the damage is lower at the sort of the tip of the flame than it is closer to the weapon. So while it might look like it's got amazing range, it's actually not as strong at the longer range as you might expect. Now in terms of builds, I went for a status focused build, and that's going to be down to personal preference. Some people dislike the whole status per second thing so much they would rather go for 90% elemental mods. However, I prefer the dual stats for spreading procs around. I've got 3, I'd say pretty different builds for the weapon though, that really change the way the weapon performs and fit with the full former I've got on the weapon, which is 3 Vs and a dash. Now the first build is pretty much, I mean, it's actually a crit build, which I know sounds crazy, but when you're putting a point strike on there, it brings the crit chance up to 30%, and because it's an AoE weapon, this crits way more than you would expect, and I found it to actually be the most effective build for dealing with large groups. I went with Serration, Split Chamber, Heavy Caliber, Point Strike and Vital Sense, 2 dual stat elementals for the status chance and the elemental damage of your choosing, and then Vile Acceleration to speed up your fire rate. I found this build to be way more effective than it would first appear, and I would definitely recommend trying this out to see how you feel about it. If you want something a little bit more reliable though, and you're not relying on those crits for big damage, you could go with the second build, which is built more around straight elemental mods. Serration, Split Chamber, Heavy Caliber, Vile Acceleration again, and then 3 dual stat elementals and a 90% mod. This really allows the AoE of the weapon to spread those procs around, and then rely on the elemental damage to do your work for you. It's also another very effective build, and I found one to be very solid, in case you don't want to have to deal with the RNG the RNG behind is it going to crit or is it not going to crit. Now, my third build is pretty much my Iotan and Medallion Hunter build. Serration, Split Chamber, Heavy Caliber, Vile Acceleration, 2 dual stat elementals for your elemental combo, and then I've got Sinister Reach and Firestorm for max range, and the Firestorm actually increases the spread of the Fire Blast basically at the end of the Ignis. It's going to make destroying and clearing entire rooms it's so easy. You just spray around, you clear all the mini-map of those little squares that could be anything from loot crates to medallions. In terms of other mods, you could always put an ammo mutation on if you never want to worry about ammo again in your life. You could mess around with Combustion Beam at lower levels just for the giggles. Or Prime Bane mods can give you a pretty big boost in faction damage as well. There's a whole bunch of options here, so just mess around and see what build works for you. So, do I think that once the event is over, that the Ignis Wraith is worth the former to max it out? Plus, obviously, the work you actually put it in to get it. And to be honest, it's all going to be down to whether you like the original Ignis. Naturally, if you don't like the original weapon, the Wraith isn't really going to change your mind on this. However, as someone that uses the original Ignis a ton, I am actually pretty happy with the Wraith. The additional crit chance and a crit build that I've been messing around with a lot, I really like that a lot. Especially, I've actually been running that crit build and combining it with Arcane Avenger for an additional 30% crit chance when the Avenger procs. And the Ignis Wraith is actually a pretty interesting powerhouse of a weapon. I'm really liking it a lot, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of the Wraith stuff not being colorable. They really need to stop interfering with my fashion frame on that one. But the changes to the noise and also to the visuals of the fire There's something that I really enjoy, and to be honest, I've enjoyed the event. Yeah, the AI on targets were derpy as hell, but honestly, it's nowhere near as grindy as people are making out, and I enjoyed the game mode itself. We've had 7 days to get all the points we need, and especially in the 3rd stage, it actually goes pretty damn quickly. Plus, having some competition between clans has been amazing. The banter between a few of the clans has been awesome, and something that honestly Warframe's badly needed for quite some time. And to be honest, while some people will complain the Wraith was too hard to get, some will complain it's really not worth the effort that's been put in to get it. You know what? Sod that. In my eyes, it's been a decent enough upgrade to the original for the most part. But the most important thing about this whole event, ignore the reward. The most important thing about this event has been the clan activities and the competition it's brought back to the game. For me, it's actually made the effort in gaining this weapon totally, absolutely worth it. As for the weapon, well, I've got me a shiny new Syndicate mission running weapon, and I'm pretty damn pleased about that. So let me know in the comments below how you found the event, what you think of the weapon if you've got it already. Just to let you all know, I do now have a public Discord, and the link to that is in the description below. All my glyph stuff is going to be done in Discord rather than in the descriptions. So if you would like a glyph, join the Discord, request in the glyph channel. However, for now, many thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.